Happy, man?
God is so good.
Hey, do you forgive the prankster?
God is so good, man.
Okay, man. Thanks very much, buddy. We need hard knocks, bro. We need hard knocks.
Hello?
You got that call.
You know what's going on?
Ready to go.
Say it one more time for me.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Ready to go.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
Yeah, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Ready to go.
What does that mean?
What? What are you saying?
I don't know.
How you gonna ask us what it means and you was on the phone?
You heard that?
You said you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
In a stunning twist during what should have been a celebratory NFL draft moment, Shedeur Sanders, son of legendary athlete and coach Deion Sanders, was blindsided by a cruel prank.
I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire.
A phone call, seemingly from New Orleans Saints GM Mickey Loomis, led him to believe he was being drafted, only for it to be revealed as a hoax orchestrated by Jax Olrich, the 21-year-old son of Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Olrich.
And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better.
The moment, captured on video and circulated online, instantly drew public ire. Although Shedeur handled the moment with grace publicly, sources close to the Sanders family claim it was deeply humiliating and added unnecessary emotional strain on what was already a stressful day.
That NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, I believe, allegedly, was also involved on this scandal to embarrass, humiliate, and sabotage both Deion Sanders and his son Shedeur.
Dion, who initially appeared unbothered when approached by TMZ, reportedly took the incident personally and viewed it as part of a wider, calculated attempt to sabotage his son's draft process.
I believe that all 32 NFL team owners and their executives and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, I believe they all came together in a KK Ku Klux Klan type of clandestine meeting, and they decided, allegedly, I believe, that they were going to embarrass, humiliate, and sabotage both Deion Sanders and his son Shedeur Sanders on draft day.
The fact that such an intimate moment was invaded has left many wondering whether there were more malicious motivations beneath the surface of the joke.
With the 40th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Tyler Shuck, quarterback, Louisville.
Switch it up.
Quarterback. There it is.
Wow.
One of the most intriguing prospects.
Wow.
He'll be 26 years old in September. He played parts of 7 seasons in college. Look at the reaction.
You got the phone, but who got that number?
As the draft unfolded, what many believed to be an odd prank began to feel more like the tip of an iceberg. Deion Sanders, not known to shy away from controversy, alleged that this prank was part of a larger scheme to humble him and Shedeur.
Shedeur already had, because of his size, because of his lack of arm strength, because of his lack of mobility, already had a pool that was smaller than other guys like Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe.
Orchestrated by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and a number of team owners. According to Dion, this was a deliberate effort to publicly embarrass the family and prevent them from wielding influence within the league.
He already had this shrunk pool, okay? But then he went and turned off some teams with his attitude. And then I told you recently, there's
Sources close to Sanders assert he believes this coordinated effort was executed in a clandestine manner akin to a Ku Klux Klan-type meeting, a statement that has only heightened the controversy.
I have been told by 2 different sources that
He contends that the goal was to tarnish their reputation and derail Shedeur's career before it even began.
The back and forth with an install package with the New York Giants and Brian Dable, so it did not go smoothly.
With the NFL initiating an investigation into the prank call, the Sanders camp feels vindicated, though they insist the league's actions are reactive rather than preventative.
And I don't need to give any more details. So now that's a third organization that I'm aware of. I don't know if there are any others.
The implication of this alleged collusion isn't just about personal grievances. It's a challenge to the integrity of the entire NFL draft system.
Spoke last night with one general manager who is considering taking Shedeur Sanders today.
Adding fuel to the fire, Shedeur Sanders experienced a dramatic slide during the NFL draft, dropping to the 5th round despite being widely regarded as one of the top quarterback prospects in the class.
He pointed back all the way to March 2024 and something that Shedeur's father, Deion Sanders, said on a podcast talking about both Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
5 other quarterbacks, many with less impressive college resumes, were selected before him.
Saying that if they are drafted by a team that they don't want to go to, he's going to step in and pull an Eli, meaning force those players to not actually go to that team and try to get them traded.
This included names like Jax Olrich, Tyler Shuck, and Dillon Gabriel, all of whom were seen as less NFL ready than Sanders.
Throughout the pre-draft process, Shedeur Sanders very much proceeded as if he was dictating to clubs.
Most glaringly, the Cleveland Browns, who had previously shown strong interest in Shedeur through interviews and private meetings, passed on him 6 times before finally drafting him 144th overall.
Where he was going to go, rather than how the draft works, which is the other way around.
Observers, including sports analysts and fans, questioned the consistency of the draft decisions, with many concluding that external factors beyond athletic ability were in play.
And there were a bunch of opportunities missed at the various checkpoints through that pre-draft process. Go all the way back to All-Star seasons.
The baffling decisions surrounding Shedeur's draft position only added to the growing suspicion that this was more than a case of missed opportunities. It felt to many like a calculated snub.
Dion, mate. Hey, it's good to see you, man. Hey, now that the dust has settled, are you happy with how things turned out?
God bless you, man. You know how good God is.
What further complicates the narrative are the numerous reports suggesting that Shedeur Sanders and his father turned off multiple NFL teams with their off-field behavior.
I know, God is good.
You know how good God is.
You happy, man?
God is so good.
Hey, do you forgive the prankster?
According to insiders, teams viewed Shedeur as arrogant and entitled during interviews, while Dion's outspoken nature and attempts to control the draft process rubbed executives the wrong way.
God is so good, man.
Okay, man. Thanks very much, buddy. We need hard knocks, bro. We need hard knocks.
Todd McShay reported that Shedeur's team interviews were lackluster and that his demeanor came off as combative. NFL insiders revealed that even before the draft, Dion publicly stated on a podcast that he would intervene if Shedeur or Travis Hunter were drafted by teams they didn't approve of, invoking the infamous Eli Manning tactic of refusing to play for a team.
It's a plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me.
This perception of entitlement, combined with Dion's desire to dictate team selection, sparked major red flags among decision-makers. Teams don't want to draft not just a quarterback, but a family brand with its own agenda.
So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me.
Racial dynamics also loom large in this controversy. The NFL currently has 32 teams, 31 of which are owned by white individuals, with Jacksonville Jaguars' Shad Khan being the only non-white majority owner. Critics like Dr. Umar Johnson have pointed out that confident, outspoken black athletes are often vilified for behavior that's celebrated in white players. This alleged double standard has become a central part of the Sanders camp narrative, arguing that Shedeur's confidence and swagger, fueled by his father's celebrity, have been misinterpreted as arrogance, and that the NFL's old guard felt threatened by the rise of a new type of black excellence. Dion's critics say he's playing the race card to deflect from genuine concerns about professionalism, but his supporters argue that the NFL has long had an issue with athletes who don't conform to its unspoken behavioral expectations. The Sanders saga, to many, is simply the latest example of this long-standing tension. Not everyone agrees with the conspiracy angle. NFL Hall of Famer Chris Carter publicly refuted claims of collusion, stating that Dion and Shedeur overplayed their hands. Carter emphasized that the NFL is a performance-based league and that off-field behavior matters just as much as on-field talent. In his view, Dion's frequent comments about coaching wherever his sons land and his insistence on being part of the package deal gave team owners legitimate reasons to hesitate. He pointed out that Shedeur skipping the combine and attempting to control his draft narrative only hurt his stock. According to Carter and others, the Sanders family didn't just become victims of systemic racism, they became victims of their own media personas. Teams aren't just drafting a player, they're drafting the culture and expectations that come with them. What's particularly striking is how fans remain divided. Some believe the situation clearly reeks of racial and political bias, pointing out that white quarterbacks with worse attitudes and stats often receive more leniency. Others argue that Dion brought this on himself by speaking too boldly and treating the University of Colorado as if it were already an NFL team. They see his public statements and media antics as undermining his son's prospects, making Shedeur look like an extension of a coach more interested in fame than football fundamentals. To these fans, Shedeur's fall wasn't about racism or collusion. It was a natural consequence of bad PR and poor decisions. The Sanders brand, they argue, may have reached a point where it alienated more decision-makers than it attracted. Meanwhile, Shedeur's draft performance and skill set have also come under scrutiny. NFL scouts noted concerns about his arm strength, size, and mobility. In a league where quarterback talent is measured against high-pressure adaptability, Shedeur's profile was seen as solid but not elite. Some teams reportedly questioned his ability to adjust to NFL-level defenses, and a few incidents, such as a poor back and forth with the New York Giants during installation drills, raised doubts about his coachability. These performance-related criticisms, when combined with the perception of arrogance, painted a more complex picture. Shedeur wasn't just falling because of who he was, it was also how he was perceived to be operating within the rigid structure of NFL expectations. The prank call incident further complicated matters. On draft night, Shedeur received a call from someone posing as Saints GM Mickey Loomis, promising to select him next. The call ended abruptly with the prankster saying, "You'll have to wait a little longer," leaving Shedeur and his camp confused and humiliated. The call was traced back to Jax Olrich, who later issued a public apology. While Shedeur brushed it off, sources say Dion was livid behind the scenes. To the Sanders family, this wasn't just a prank. It was symbolic of the NFL's disrespect toward them. It reinforced their belief that a segment of the league had made it their mission to ensure Shedeur's draft experience would be anything but smooth. Despite Dion's composed demeanor when questioned by the media post-draft, insiders close to him insist he remains deeply unsettled. His cryptic posts on social media following the draft, speaking of lies being more popular than truth, suggest a man grappling with betrayal. He followed up those posts with reflections on faith, accountability, and personal growth. Yet the underlying message was clear. Dion believes he and his son were punished for being unapologetically themselves in a system that rewards compliance and punishes defiance. The notion that Shedeur's talent could be overlooked purely because of attitude and perceived audacity has sparked larger conversations about the NFL's culture and how it deals with players who step outside the mold. Ultimately, the Shedeur Sanders draft saga has become a litmus test for broader issues in professional football. Issues of race, power, image, and the consequences of being too bold in a system that favors quiet conformity. Whether or not collusion occurred, what remains undeniable is that Shedeur's experience has ignited a conversation far bigger than one player's draft position. As fans debate whether Deion Sanders is right to call out NFL owners, or whether he has, in fact, damaged his son's career with overexposure and overreach, one truth stands firm. Shedeur Sanders' path into the NFL will forever be shadowed by this controversy. The implications for the league and for the Sanders legacy are still unfolding. In the end, whether Shedeur's draft slide was driven by systemic bias, personality clashes, or strategic missteps, one thing is clear. His journey to the NFL has already challenged the league's norms. As Deion Sanders continues to speak out, the controversy surrounding his son's draft day is forcing a deeper conversation about power, race, and who really controls the narrative in professional football.